now I would love to welcome on our stage Annastina Haapasaari, who is the project manager in the Finnish opera and ballet, and who will share with us her story about Laila, the project introduced already about before by Edila, but as well about the opera Beyond that she's standing behind as the project manager. Hello, and where are you? As the every guest question today.
Hello, hi, can you hear me well?
Very, very well. Where are you, Annastina?
I am in Tampere, which is it the second biggest city in Finland? It's a little bit away from Helsinki, but I'm in Finland. Yes.
Very, very nice.
Almost dark here already.
Okay, so you are not showcasing like your venue. We will switch it within your beautiful presentation that I can see already is ready. So I'm hiding myself. The floor is yours, and we would love to discover your projects.
Thank you. So, hi everyone. My name is Annastina Haapasaari, and I work as the project manager of the Finnish National Opera and Ballet's Opera Beyond project that I will present to you now. The Opera Beyond project aims to explore the possibilities of new technology for performing arts. We want to see these art forms, including opera and ballet, but also other genres of performing arts, where they can go when they're taken to a next level and their limits are pushed with new technology and interactive technologies and other types of new tools and interactive media. In this presentation, I will first share with you our vision for this exploration, then approach the topic with a very concrete example as Edilia mentioned, and also Agata also talked about our newly premiered immersive experience called Laila. And then I will introduce shortly another digital project that we are currently working on, which takes the digital tools more to the workflow than to the performances themselves. The Finnish National Opera and Ballet, which is located in Helsinki in Finland, is quite a large opera house. And we also do ballet. We do a varied program of from 18th century opera classics, of course, to contemporary pieces. We have around 25 different main stage productions annually and 550 monthly employees representing over 30 nationalities. And as many houses in Europe and all over the world, we are also currently in lockdown, but a while ago we still weren't, but now we are. But I will also tell you about how the organization is approaching the different digital media to combat the challenges that are brought by the epidemic. As an opera house, we have an important role in maintaining and conserving the valuable tradition of opera and ballet, which of course have a long history behind them. But it is equally also important to be open-minded and to be in dialogue with the changing world and to join in the development. To pass on the legacy of these art forms and keep them relevant, it's important that every generation leaves their own footprint on the art forms and takes them, plays with them, explores with them. And this is what we are doing with this project. In our industry in general, the well-planned and financially solid creative processes and massive productions that we most often do have very little tolerance for uncertainty. But at the same time, the ambitious creative exploration demands to push boundaries and to leave space for change and for innovation. We also started this project only a bit over 2 years ago, and we've come a long way. After that, it's been already a journey. Here are some of the keywords and attitudes we wanted to adopt with the project. And the project is going to expand over several years, and we focus on, amongst other technologies, in the use of immersive mediums like virtual and mixed reality, spatial audio, advanced projection mapping, etc. These technologies can open like a whole new dimension, not only of artistic content, but also of the customer experience and production processes, like I will show you soon. These eyes here in the slide illustrate the different aspects and sub-projects that we are focusing on with the Opera Beyond framework. As I mentioned, I will focus on Laila and say also a few words about our XR stage design tool that we are currently working on. And in parallel with Laila, we premiered a bit lighter digital project called Common Domain, which was a VR installation or virtual reality experience, however you want to call that. It also fused VR and physical objects that then moving some pieces in real life affected the virtual world that there was one person at a time experiencing. But I would also keep that as an example of something lighter that you can do with digital tools, because the opportunities are so many and there are so many forms that digital tools can make our pieces to take. So it's Laila was a very heavy process, as you will see, but you can also do so many different things and on so many different scales and in the massiveness, so to say. And in addition to this project, we are on a continuous seek out to new interesting opportunities. And as all of you, I guess also, we also want to build bridges between art and technology and create this kind of platforms where technologists and artists can meet and learn from each other. And it only makes so much sense that we as art organizations, our artists, share our learned lessons from the projects that we've done. And this event is obviously a perfect example. And I think the initiatives like the Royal Shakespeare Company and Fedora are also very much focusing on this and showing us how fruitful sharing everything we've learned can be. We also hosted a conference in 2019 where we focused at the very crossroads of art and technology. And the 2020 edition was unfortunately cancelled due to the epidemic situation, but we are hoping to soon take example of this event and also host a virtual event in the early spring. And then we do have in the horizon, we have a main stage production that we are starting to work on, and it will premiere in 2022. But then to go to our first concrete milestone of our journey, the first tangible fruit, so to say, of our framework is Laila, which is an immersive installation by composer Esa-Pekka Salonen, dramaturge Paula Vesala, sound designer Tuomas Norvio, and concept designer team Echo Collective. Laila rejects the roles of the traditional roles of performing arts, as its music and visuality evolve and change in interaction with the audience. And to speak in concrete terms, Laila is a dome-shaped structure inside which the people, the audience, are surrounded by a multisensory universe created with projection mapping, spatial sound system, motion tracking technology, and AI algorithms. Here you have an illustration of how it basically physically surrounds the audience. The idea for producing an immersive work originally came from conductor and composer Esa-Pekka Salonen, who is also the artistic partner of the Finnish National Opera and Ballet. And he has also he has done multiple very interesting multimedia projects beforehand with different technologies like VR and with projection mapping as well in like large scale. I recommend you to check them out as well. But he had an idea for a different, not linear composition that he wanted to do, and he teamed up with a dramaturge and pop artist Paula Vesala around a theme that they shared a vision of. And at this point, we had the basic components thematically, but the form that the piece would take was still open. And as this was our first time working with immersive mediums, and because the possibilities with technology are really endless, we didn't want to limit ourselves at that stage to a particular technological solution, but instead explore first with a broader scope. So we launched a concept competition open for creative technological teams worldwide, and we received 195 applications from 32 different countries. And amongst the 8 finalists that we invited to a workshop and to pitch their idea in Helsinki in spring 2019, a multidisciplinary team, Eco Collective's idea, was selected as the winning concept by an international jury that also actually included Sarah Ellis that just spoke to us. Now I could show you a little making of video clip of Laila.
I think the very initial conversation I had with Lili Paasikivi, who is the artistic director of the Finnish National Opera and Ballet, was several years ago, and I said I would like to do something within the organization that uses new technology and basically plays with the elements of an opera house, but without quite being an opera, and so on.
Well, Laila is an immersive artwork. It's an environment, it's a space. It's also kind of an AI entity, if you want to think about it that way. It's the product of our 1 year of hustling.
If you should actually rebuild opera, you can't rip it down more than we've done it. So it's missing all of the traditions of opera. It's missing a person on stage. There's no conductor. You don't sit. You're not a member of the audience who has a comfortable bench. You're actually going in to the experience, and then it's evolving with you. So it's hierarchy free in a way.
I guess what is really special about it for us is this highly multidisciplinary collaboration that we have here. So we are a multidisciplinary team. We have designers and technologists among ourselves, but then we also have a composer, a dramaturg, all of the professionals from the opera that help us create this piece.
I'm sure it has been a learning process for all, inside our collective, but also with the collaboration with others, for everyone.
To compose Laila was a very different process compared to everything else I've ever done before. I like to learn new things, and this has been a real learning curve, because none of it is composing in the traditional sense of the word.
So a big part of the sound design and the sound in the dome is a spatial sound, meaning that we have a 38.2 Genelec system in the dome. It's all around you. 3D spatial sounds means that there's no direction. Anything can happen anywhere.
We're working with really interesting technologies, so we get to do a really interesting projection mapping solution inside Laila, and we're also using AI in a kind of new type of way that helps the people who come to Laila interact with the artwork.
Every art form needs the traditional side, the legacy. We have to take care of the legacy, but we also have to make sure that there are new things that nobody has done ever before. And we also have to take the risk of some things not actually working out. So every new work is a risk in this sense. But if we don't take the risk, we are going to die, and the art form is going to die. It's going to dry out and lose its relevance. So the risk is well worth taking.
So Laila opened our season this autumn. We were lucky because it was a smooth transition from the absolute lockdown to safe reopening of the house after the lockdown, even though we had to go back into strict measures afterwards. But at the time it was the beginning of the autumn, and the 10-minute experience that Laila welcomes only 10 people. Sorry, it's a 10-minute experience that it welcomes only 6 people inside of it at a time, so we could respect all the safety restrictions and open it to the big public whilst respecting the situation and safety. And I think that's a lesson learned on about during this uncertain times. It's to our benefit that we can have a spectrum of different kinds of content and experiences to offer. So we can have the traditional, on the side of our traditional performances, it's a good idea to have, of course, like streaming, but also different kinds of digital experiences. And Laila is the one that fuses technology and digital tools with physical experience as well. The creation process of Laila was by no means easy. It demanded a lot of patience, and as we were using a lot of cutting edge equipment and manually built technological solutions, our own workflows were sort of put into an acid test. And at some point, we even had the tech manufacturer on a phone call, because it was like a developer's version of the technology or the gear. And we had to be on a phone call with the manufacturer, so our coder could try to hack problems with the gear, like directly with its developer. And so one thing that we learned was that there are always going to be surprises when using new technology, and you need a certain flexibility for that. And there were also sort of cultural clashes, I would say, and admit. It's true that a large institution, an old institution, a national art organization, moves much slower and turns with different flexibility than compared to a startup company or a team that is composed of like young multimedia artists. But you need new brain to stir the ways you work and to try out new things boldly. And it is most often, I think, a good idea to have both your own team members and employees work together as closely as possible with the team that you have hired from the outside, because obviously you don't have the knowledge of the technologists, and then on the other hand, they don't know your field. So obviously together you are, and you know so much more. And it's also, it's very smart to use the opportunity that is then offered. And that's why you should work as closely together as possible. And that's the only way you get the best out of it, if you throw yourself in as an organization and keep an open mind and really be curious and learn from them. So you gather the knowledge. So next time you have a much better sort of background knowledge to start something new. And you sort of gain also valuable insight from all the projects that you've done before. So yeah, as I mentioned, it was not easy in any way, and working with new technology requires a lot of flexibility and patience, and we need to accept working with technology that things often happen through a process of trial and error, and that there always will be some surprises. And it's also true that there are so many ways that audiences and people approach technology with. And designing the audience experience was, in this case, pretty much as important as the production of the piece itself. And for example, in our case, we were offering the experience for everyone up from like 10 years old to, I think our oldest audience members were over 90 years old. So they do have different background information. You need to think of disabled people. you need to think of people that have never tried anything like this before. There are people who are shy with new technology. And I think you already heard about this from Sarah also, who has, of course, great examples of that. And yeah, there are so many different aspects that you need to think about. One was that we had like a mirrored floor, and we realized after some customers gave us feedback that obviously when the floor is mirrored, you can't have like or you will see under people's dresses, and let people know in advance that they will be prepared. But overall, the response from the audience was very positive, and I'm so happy that we did this, and I'm so like we've learned so much, and the next case would be again so much easier now, or so we think, until differently proven. And as you heard already, a couple of weeks ago, we had the great honor of receiving the first edition of Fedora's Digital Prize with this project. And I'm so happy of the fact that Fedora has now this category for Digital Prize, and it can really also contribute to pushing organizations to creating more ambitious digital projects, and to push the whole opera industry that is often old-fashioned to explore more with a broad scope. So I will go shortly. This is also something very interesting that could be of use in the future for many of you. As I mentioned in the beginning, our opportunities with new technology aren't limited to content or new types of performances, but with the tools that we have available today, we can greatly also enhance our ways of working, our traditional workflows. And this can also be financially profitable in many of the cases, as we are now trying out with this tool. Basically, what we are doing with this XR stage design tool is to reimagine the artistic designing process on stage and the different aspects that building an opera or ballet performance requires. Only here, none of this is done physically or on actual stage, but on exact photorealistic and precise copy, digital, virtual model of our real stage. So the process doesn't depend on the time or place that you're in. And so what we are aiming for is the next level digital workflow for stage art organizations. And as you know, opera and ballet productions and a lot of the performing arts require combining work of multiple departments, all specialized in different aspects of the show, be it lighting design, video projections, set design, sound and audio, directing, everything. So our end goal is to have a comprehensive, realistic virtual platform in which we design the process of the entire performance, and it could be done from scratch to basically a finished show. At the first stage of this project, we've built a prototype into which we put together a photorealistic 3D model of our stage, as I already mentioned, and we've modeled some of the existing productions that we have. And this model that all the departments would then use can be visited both in VR with VR glasses, but also without on a flat screen or mobile device if wanted. And I think that's also something important, that you don't, I think it's unrealistic to expect that everyone will grab the VR goggles right now and start using them. So you should have a parallel work in a workflow. You should have parallel ways to use the shared tools. And at the next stage of this project, we will be adding on the platform functionalities that allow for actual designing, making sets and light changes, and all in high detail and in real time. So basically, this is an example where all of this means a remarkable gain in terms of efficient use of the stage time that is often very scarce at the opera houses because it's so expensive and we need to run multiple performances on the same stage at the same time. So it's very expensive and it's very scarce, the stage time. So if we have a copy of the stage in VR and in virtually, we can then double or triple or multiply how many times you want the stage time that we have available, and all the technical rehearsals can be done there.
Do you plan to train as well the artists that you are inviting for the production to use all this, for now, very advanced programs, not only thinking about the mixed reality or virtual reality, but actually the whole programming dedicated to this online pre-production? Will it be some kind of, like condition to take part in your program, in your repertoire?
I think at the first stage we will take it into use with set designers and with the technicians and, for example, the video designers and the light designers, because maybe they are the people that are most comfortable with this kind of platforms. But I think what is the new thing is that they have the multiple departments are coming to the same place to use one tool instead of being in their own corners, all using their own 2D sketches and so forth. And of course, in this during the pandemic time, it's also because the opera productions are often very international, and the key team members are all over the planet, basically. Absolutely. So we can also we are going to create a collaborative space inside this tool, so the different designers and the different people involved can meet on the platform and discuss the actual sets on the stage that they are sharing with and that they are in immersively at the time.
We have here like the first questions for our Q&A. It's just like first question, do you have anything to add to your presentation, or do we switch to the list from our attendees?
We can switch. I can also I'll share with you the link. I have a demo video of this one also, but I will send the link to the chat box, so it's probably easier to watch it on your own.
I'm kind of convinced that you will have plenty of like really direct messages concerning your work and the workflow within your organization from our colleagues that are here with us working in kind of similar field, thinking about the future for the opera and performing arts. Already we have questions somehow touching the subject of the money, which is kind of obvious if we speak about the new technologies. You already said that it has a huge impact on the opera production, but do you somehow separate this new tech dimension from the whole opera production budget, or how do you manage to make it, let's say, legit within the teams of the theater?
At the moment and at the beginning of when this project started, we dedicated we made it into a different project, a separate project that worked as sort of the R&D lab of our organizations, because that way we could ensure that there was enough space for innovation and coming up with new ideas, because then if it was part of everyone's workload, it would be very different to sort of make time for it and push the other things aside. And we were lucky enough to get a separate funding from a private fund for this project, and we have also continued our own fundraising with the project. And I think what is maybe the benefit or the advantage in this case is that when it's something that fuses art and tech, you also have the tech industry that you can try to mobilize and get funding also from there, and interesting collaborations can be found, I think, in the tech field. And new types of, if you were we were beforehand, we were a very traditional art organization that do very traditional art forms. Now it's we have opened sort of new side of our brand that can be attractive to new types of collaborators.
That's amazing and sounds like a beautiful adventure for the whole organization. Already in our questions, we have highlighted the subject that yes, opera and ballet are the arts that we think from this conservative point of view, and we will tackle this subject in the discussion panel with other guests of today. I think it's great to share as well our points of view in this field in between us. So now I would love to invite you all for like 5 minutes break. We will meet again here, the 4 of us who were participating in the today panels and keynotes in frames of our discussion. It will be the discussion dedicated to a few subjects like the role of the community, the role of the collaboration, private, public, as it was already mentioned by you as like highly important in the development of the tech strategies. We will talk as well about the contact with our audiences, and of course about how do we boost our teams within the institutions to go and tackle together the artistic risk of using the technologies. So I invite you warmly to be back to us at like 12:25, as my friends are like sharing with me the hours. So now I invite you for a short break, for a small coffee, and we are meeting here really, really soon. See you in 5 minutes. Thank you so much, Annastina, for the inspiring and kind of fairy tale presentation. It was amazing. Thank you so much.